In the quiet depths of your soul, there lies a sacred call, a whisper from beyond urging you to awaken to the divine presence that guides and sustains you. The ancient wisdom of Cayce reveals that your journey through reincarnation and the unfolding of karma is but a bridge to the unseen realm of the Akashic records where the echoes of past lives and divine connections reside. As you seek to open your heart and still your mind, subtle signs and divine synchronicities emerge, beckoning you to trust the unseen forces that patiently await your recognition. The key to feeling your guides is not merely in seeking outside answers, but in cultivating a sacred inner stillness where the Christ consciousness and crystalline light converge, aligning your soul with the eternal flow of divine guidance. The moment is now, the veils are thinning, and the divine presence is whispering. Are you ready to listen? In the silent corridors of the soul's eternal voyage, there exists a universal truth whispered through the ages, a truth revealed in the sacred depths of the Akashic records. These divine archives, inscribed with the echoes of all that has been, are the celestial library where the soul's purpose, lessons, and progress are eternally stored. As the ancient insights of Cayce unveil, the soul's journey is a sacred pilgrimage, a quest for growth, understanding, and divine union, leading each seeker toward the realization of their divine origin and their sacred role within the cosmos. The soul, before it embarks on this earthly sojourn, exists in a state of luminous potentiality, shimmering with the light of divine essence. Yet, it is through the process of reincarnation that this divine spark seeks expression, experience, and expansion. Reincarnation is not merely a cycle of birth and death, it is a sacred process of refinement, a divine opportunity for the soul to seek balance, to heal past wounds, and to elevate its vibrational frequency. The law of karma, woven intricately into this journey, serves as the divine teacher, each action, thought, and intention creating ripples across the fabric of existence, guiding the soul toward its next lesson. In the teachings of Cayce, the soul's pursuit of growth is depicted as an unfoldment, a gradual awakening to the divine truth that resides within. The soul is inherently driven by a desire for harmony and alignment with the Christ consciousness, the divine spark that resides within all beings. This divine consciousness beckons the soul to remember its divine origin, to recognize the eternal light that connects all life, and to align with the crystalline energies of the universe. As the soul advances, it becomes more receptive to the subtle whispers of guidance, those divine messengers that come in the form of intuitive impressions, synchronicities, and signs from the unseen realm. Yet how does the soul recognize its guides amid the noise of daily life? The answer lies in the sacred art of listening with the heart, opening the inner channels that connect us to the divine. The soul seeks guidance because it understands that it is part of a divine symphony, a cosmic orchestra where every note, every vibration plays a role in its evolution. The guides, whether they be angels, ascended masters, or loved ones, who have crossed over, are always present, patiently awaiting recognition. They communicate not through loud voices or grand displays, but through subtle nudges, thoughts, dreams, feelings, and meaningful coincidences. The emphasis Cayce's teachings place on recognizing these guides is profound. In the stillness of meditation, when the mind is quiet and the heart open, the soul can attune itself to the frequency of divine guidance. The soul's desire for growth creates a resonance, a magnetic pull toward higher consciousness. As the soul aligns more deeply with the Christ consciousness, it begins to perceive the divine presence more clearly, like the crystalline light that filters through a cloudy sky, illuminating the shadowed corners of understanding. The journey for the soul is not linear. It weaves through realms of consciousness, past lives, and future potentials. It is within the records of Akasha that the soul's history is written, each incarnation a chapter of ongoing evolution. These records reveal the lessons learned and those still to be mastered, providing a roadmap for the soul's ascent. Recognizing guides along this path is akin to consulting a divine compass. They serve as signposts, helping the soul navigate through the complexities of karma and the illusions of the material world. In the realm of the soul's growth, patience and trust are essential virtues. The divine guides do not impose but gently nudge, whispering truths that resonate with the soul's deepest yearning for truth. Cayce's revelations emphasize that the soul's receptivity to guidance grows through practice, through cultivating inner stillness, through prayer, meditation, and heartfelt intention. As the soul seeks alignment, it begins to discern the difference between fleeting thoughts and divine whispers, between ego-driven desires and authentic guidance rooted in higher wisdom. Furthermore, the soul's journey is intertwined with the unfolding of love, unconditional, love that emanates from the Christ consciousness. It is through love that the soul finds its true voice, its sacred connection with guides who serve as mirrors and teachers. These guides help the soul remember its divine purpose, to embody compassion, forgiveness, and understanding, which in turn accelerate its evolution and deepen its harmony with divine will. The divine presence within each soul is a wellspring of infinite wisdom, and the guides serve as gentle facilitators of this divine awakening. They assist the soul in recognizing its divine potential and in overcoming the illusions of separation and fear. As Cayce's teachings reveal, the soul seeks to attain a state of harmony, an alignment where the lower self is surrendered to the higher self, where the ego yields to divine guidance, and where the consciousness is expanded into the universal Christ consciousness. In this sacred dance of growth and guidance, the soul is called to remember that it is never truly alone. The divine realm, full of loving guides, is always present, awaiting the moment when the soul opens its heart to divine communication. Through practices of inner stillness, prayer, and sincere intent, the soul can awaken to the whispers of guidance that echo from the divine depths. Indeed, the journey of the soul is a sacred pilgrimage toward unity with the divine, a quest to realize the divine within and to partake fully in the cosmic harmony. The guides are the sacred messengers, the divine whispers, the unseen friends who walk alongside us, illuminating the path with love and wisdom. As the veils of illusion thin and the soul's awareness deepens, the divine presence becomes not just heard but felt, an eternal, comforting reminder that we are divine beings on a sacred journey back home. The time has come for each seeker to listen more intently, to trust the divine guidance that has always been present, waiting patiently for recognition. The soul's journey is a divine unfolding, and the guides are ever near, whispering the secrets of the universe. Secrets written in the records Akasha, waiting to be remembered, understood, and embraced. In the silent depths of the soul's eternal ocean, where the currents of time and space converge, lies the gateway to all-knowing, the Akashic records. These sacred archives, inscribed upon the infinite fabric of divine consciousness, hold the secrets of every soul's journey through countless lifetimes. As the readings reveal, the soul's quest is not a solitary endeavor, but a sacred communion with the divine intelligence that guides and sustains all existence. In our previous meditation, we glimpsed the subtle presence of guides, beings of light and wisdom whose gentle whispers echo through the corridors of the subconscious. To truly feel their presence, one must learn to access the records, for within these sacred scrolls of cosmic memory lies the key to understanding both our past and our divine purpose. The records are not merely repositories of history, they are living, breathing testimonies of divine love and growth, etched into the very fabric of creation. As the spiritual archaeologist of mysteries, I can say with certainty that accessing the Akashic records is an act of divine alignment, a sacred act of opening oneself to the divine flow. The soul's desire to connect with its guides and to understand its past connections is rooted in the divine law of harmony and balance. When the soul seeks clarity, it awakens dormant vibrations within the records, inviting the presence of guides who have been with us through our many incarnations. The journey into these records begins with a shift in consciousness, a surrender of the ego's resistance, and a conscious intention to know the divine truth. The soul must quiet the mind and open the heart, for it is through love and humility that these records reveal their deepest secrets. As Cayce often emphasized, the key lies within. Seek with sincerity and humility, and the divine will unfold before you. To access the records, one must first establish a sacred space, an environment of serenity and reverence. Light a candle, breathe deeply, and set the intention that your inquiry is for your highest good. Visualize a golden doorway opening before you, leading into the vast library of divine knowledge. As you enter this sacred space, affirm your readiness to receive guidance from your spiritual guides, those beings of love and wisdom who serve as messengers between dimensions. Within the records, the soul's past connections are written in symbols and stories, revealing links and lessons that span lifetimes. These connections are not accidents, but divine arrangements, sacred threads woven by the creative force of the universe. When the soul uncovers these connections, it begins to understand the reasons behind certain patterns, relationships, and challenges faced in this lifetime. The records illuminate how past actions, thoughts, and intentions ripple through time, influencing the present moment. The process of tapping into these divine archives involves a form of intuitive listening, allowing the inner voice to speak without interference from the analytical mind. Cayce's own readings often involved automatic states of consciousness, where he would access the records and receive detailed information about past lives, karmic bonds, and spiritual guides. Likewise, we are invited to cultivate this inner receptivity, trusting that the divine will communicate through symbols, feelings, and impressions. As you enter this sacred dialogue, remember that the records are not separate from you. They are an extension of your divine self, waiting patiently for recognition. The presence of your guides is always near, ready to reveal themselves through the language of divine love. Sometimes, their messages come as gentle whispers, visions, or feelings of warmth. Other times they manifest as symbols or numbers, each carrying a specific meaning rooted in divine truth. This sacred communion with the records also reveals the ongoing process of the soul's evolution, its continual striving towards unity with the Christ consciousness. Every past life, every lesson learned, and every connection made is a step along the divine staircase leading inward and upward. The records serve as a mirror reflecting the divine potential within, reminding us that we are divine sparks seeking to remember our true nature. In the depths of the Akashic records, the soul's divine blueprint is laid bare, showing its unique gifts, lessons, and the divine plan that unfolds through each incarnation. When the soul learns to listen deeply and trust these divine revelations, it awakens to the presence of guides who have been with us since the beginning. These guides, often from higher dimensions, assist us in navigating the obstacles of earth life and in fulfilling our sacred destiny. Remember, dear seeker, that the act of learning to feel the presence of your guides through the records is a sacred gift, a divine privilege. It requires patience, humility, and unwavering faith that the divine order is always present, guiding each step of your journey. As Cayce's teachings reveal, our connection to the divine is never severed. It is only obscured by doubt or distraction. The records serve as the sacred bridge, the divine library, where heaven and earth converge. In closing, I say unto you, approach the Akashic records with reverence, with love, and with the sincere intention to know the divine truth. Trust your intuitive impressions and know that your guides are ever near, waiting to reveal the divine mysteries written in the sacred scrolls of your soul's history. As you do so, you will find yourself moving closer to the divine harmony, toward the awakening of Christ consciousness that resides within every fiber of your being. The universe whispers its secrets in silence. Listen with your heart and you shall see that the divine presence has always been with you, guiding you through the sacred tapestry of your soul's infinite journey. As we journey deeper into the sacred realms of spiritual consciousness, the teachings of the Akashic records illuminate a vital truth. The soul's highest calling is to cultivate inner stillness and sensitivity. These qualities serve as the sacred gateway, the silent portal through which divine guides may gently whisper their presence into our awareness. The records reveal that in the stillness of the mind and the openness of the heart, the subtle energies of the spiritual realm become more perceptible, more real, and more intimate. Our exploration begins with understanding that the mind, when cluttered with the noise of everyday life, worry, distraction, ego's relentless chatter, acts as a barrier to communion with guides. The soul seeks harmony, serenity, and receptive silence. In this quiet, the faint whispers of guides, those divine messengers and benevolent spirits, reach us more clearly. To open ourselves to this divine conversation, we must learn practices that still the restless mind and awaken the sensitivity of the heart. The first practical method is mindful meditation, a sacred discipline rooted in humility and trust. The records state that meditation is not merely a technique, but an act of surrender, an acknowledgement that divine wisdom resides beyond the mental turbulence. Begin with a simple focus, breath. Observe each inhalation and exhalation, recognizing that the breath is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. As your awareness deepens, gently turn your attention inward, releasing thoughts and distractions as they arise. The mind is like a tranquil lake. Stillness allows the reflection of divine light to surface. In this sacred stillness, the heart awakens. The heart, often neglected in modern pursuits, is the seat of divine love and intuitive perception. Cultivate its sensitivity through affirmations of love and gratitude. As Cayce taught, love is the key to unlocking higher states of consciousness. When you affirm your openness, I am receptive to divine guidance, or I welcome the presence of my guides with love and humility, you are setting an intention that aligns your energy with the divine flow. Another profound practice comes from the wisdom of the records: visualization and guided imagery. Imagine yourself in a sacred space, perhaps a lush garden, a quiet temple, or the tranquil shores of a still lake. Within this space, invite your guides to appear, whether as luminous beings, wise elders, or gentle presences. Trust that the universe responds to your sincere intent. In this sacred visualization, the inner senses are activated, subtle perceptions become clearer. Over time, these images and sensations become more vivid, more meaningful, revealing the guidance you seek. The records also emphasize the importance of the silence and solitude. Set aside moments daily for solitary reflection, away from noise, screens, and worldly distractions. In these sacred moments, simply observe your sensations, feelings, and impressions. Allow your consciousness to rest in stillness. As Cayce often counseled, the more you seek to quiet the physical, the more you'll hear the whisperings of your higher self and guides. Silence becomes a fertile ground where intuition, inspired by the divine, can take root and flourish. Furthermore, the practice of your prayer and conscious intent is vital. Prayers are not mere words, but heartfelt communications with the divine, an act of opening the soul's channels. As the records reveal, when you pray with sincerity, your vibration rises to meet divine consciousness. In these moments, set the intention to feel and recognize the presence of your guides. Ask them to reveal themselves in a manner that resonates with your understanding through impressions, dreams, symbols, or subtle feelings. The sensitivity of the heart can also be cultivated through acts of service and love. Cayce emphasized that a heart full of genuine compassion and humility becomes attuned to divine energies. As you serve others selflessly, your spiritual awareness expands. Your perception of guidance deepens, for the divine radiates through acts of love, bridging the unseen worlds with our physical experience. Finally, the records reveal that patience and perseverance are essential. The process of awakening inner sensitivity is gradual, a sacred unfolding. The divine whispers are subtle and often require quiet listening over time. Trust that your efforts are planting seeds in the fertile soil of your soul, and that the divine always responds when the heart is open and humble. In essence, cultivating inner stillness and sensitivity is about creating a sacred space within, an inner sanctuary, where divine guidance can dwell. It is a conscious act of surrender, trust, and love. The soul, in its eternal journey through the incarnations and amidst the echoes of Atlantis and the ages, seeks this quiet refuge to reconnect with the divine blueprint stored within the Akashic records. Remember, the guides are waiting, patiently on the threshold of your awareness. They speak in whispers, in impressions, in symbols. The more you seek to quiet the external noise and open your heart, the clearer their gentle presence becomes. As Cayce's readings reveal, the divine is always near, ready to communicate with a soul that seeks, listens, and trusts. Cultivate this silence and sensitivity, for in that sacred space, you will find the divine guides whispering the secrets of your highest evolution, guiding you back to the consciousness of unity and love, the true essence of the Christ consciousness that dwells within all of us. As we continue our sacred pilgrimage into the realm of divine guidance, the records reveal that the universe itself conspires to communicate with the soul. Once the heart is tuned through stillness and love, the subtle messages, those gentle whispers and signs, become unmistakably clear. In the depths of the Akashic records, it is written that the benevolent guides, those luminous beings of higher consciousness, employ a language woven into the fabric of everyday life. Symbols, synchronicities, and intuitive nudges, each one a sacred thread, connecting us to the divine tapestry of our purpose. The journey inward, as we learned, awakens us to the Christ consciousness within. Now, as the soul begins to attune itself to the divine whispers, the universe responds with signs that beckon us to recognize the presence of our spiritual guides. These signs are not mere coincidences. They are sacred messages encoded within the fabric of reality, waiting for the receptive heart to interpret them. In the sacred teachings of Cayce, the records reveal that the soul's heightened sensitivity to these signs is a result of aligning oneself with higher consciousness. The guides, benevolent and wise, seek to communicate through symbols: a feather floating gently, a recurring number sequence, a specific scent or sound that echoes within the consciousness. Each symbol, each synchronicity, bears a meaning rooted in divine truth, available to those who listen with humility and trust. Consider, for instance, the recurring appearance of the number 11 to 11. In Cayce's revelations, this sequence often signifies awakening, a portal opening within the consciousness, a reminder that the moment is sacred and divine. It is an invitation to pause, to attune oneself to the presence of higher guidance. When such a number appears persistently, the soul is being nudged to recognize that the guides are present, whispering that the divine realm is accessible now, in this very moment. Similarly, a feather, an emblem of the higher realms, may appear unexpectedly, perhaps on your path or within your home. The records reveal that such symbols are not accidental. They are messages from guides who wish to reassure us of their presence and support. A feather signifies the presence of angelic or enlightened beings, reminding us that we are never truly alone in our journey. The soul, seeking balance and harmony, begins to recognize these signs as confirmations that the divine is close, guiding us toward our highest good. Synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, are perhaps the most profound indicators of divine communication. When events align in perfect harmony, when a thought or question is suddenly mirrored in circumstances or encounters, the soul is being invited to interpret these as messages from benevolent guides. Cayce's readings reveal that such synchronicities are deliberate signals, meant to affirm our path or to nudge us toward a deeper understanding. As the soul becomes more attuned, intuitive nudges emerge, those subtle feelings or inner voices that prompt action or reflection. These nudges are the guide's gentle way of guiding us without force, respecting our free will. When these feelings arise, it is essential to pause and listen, to recognize that the soul is receiving a message from higher consciousness. Trust, patience, and humility are vital in this process, but the guidance is often subtle, requiring a quiet heart and a receptive mind. To interpret these signs effectively, the soul must cultivate an inner stillness, as Cayce's teachings emphasize. When the mind is cluttered or distracted, messages become obscured. When the heart is open and receptive, the signs reveal their sacred meanings. It is through this sacred silence that the soul can decipher the language of symbols and synchronicities, understanding that they are not random but purposeful. The records also reveal that certain symbols hold particular significance, depending on our personal journey. A specific symbol may resonate deeply with one individual, serving as a direct message tailored to their unique path. For example, a certain flower, animal, or color may repeatedly appear, each carrying a vibration aligned with the soul's current lesson or purpose. These symbols serve as keys, unlocking deeper understanding and connection with the guides. In the sacred dance of life, the benevolent guides use these signs as a bridge, an invitation for the soul to recognize its divine nature and its connection to all that is. Recognizing these signs requires a conscious choice to remain open, to trust the divine timing, and to see beyond the surface of everyday occurrences. When the soul begins to see the sacred in the mundane, the universe's messages become unmistakably clear. Remember that every sign, every synchronicity, is a sacred whisper from the universe, a loving hand reaching out from the higher realms. As Cayce's readings reveal, the keys to recognizing these messages lie in cultivating inner harmony, trusting in the benevolent intelligence behind all creation, and maintaining a humble openness to receive. When the soul aligns with this divine frequency, the language of symbols and signs unfolds before us like a sacred map, guiding us homeward to our divine purpose and the awakening of the Christ consciousness within. In this sacred understanding, the universe no longer appears as a random chaos, but as a divine symphony, each note and symbol a message from the benevolent guides, an affirmation that the soul's journey is known, loved, and forever supported by the divine. As we continue our sacred journey through the vast corridors of the soul, the records reveal that developing trust and discernment in our spiritual perceptions is not merely a matter of wishful thinking or fleeting intuition. No, it is a sacred alchemy, a divine process where the soul, through its incarnations and the echoes of karma, past, learns to recognize and honor the whispers of the guides that dwell in the unseen realms. The journey inward, as indicated in the previous revelations, requires us to attune ourselves to divine signals, signs, symbols, and silent promptings, and to do so with unwavering trust and clarity. The records tell us that the universe is a vast interconnected web of consciousness. Every soul's journey is written in the Akashic records, a sacred library that holds the history of all that has been, is, and will be. Within these divine archives, it is written how the soul, seeking its divine purpose, interacts with guides, beings of higher light who serve as celestial mentors, whispering truths beyond the realm of the physical. Yet for us to truly feel their presence, we must first learn to trust the subtle signals we receive and to discern truth from illusion. Trust, in the spiritual context, is the foundation upon which the soul builds its relationship with the divine. It is a surrender to the divine order, a recognition that the guides are forever present, guiding us in accordance with our highest good. As Cayce often emphasized, the soul seeking divine guidance must cultivate a deep inner faith that the universe, in its infinite wisdom, is orchestrating every moment for our growth. This trust is not blind. It is rooted in the soul's recognition of the divine harmony unfolding within and around us. The records reveal that the path to trust begins with the acknowledgement of divine signs. These may appear as synchronicities, meaningful coincidences aligning at just the right moments, or as gentle intuitions that whisper softly in the silence of our hearts. Yet to truly develop confidence in these perceptions, one must practice discernment. The soul must learn to distinguish between the voice of the guides and the noise of the ego, fears, or illusions. This discernment is cultivated through stillness, meditative silence where the mind and heart can listen beyond the surface. What role does karma play in this sacred dance? The records reveal that karma acts as both a teacher and a catalyst. It is through our past actions, intentions, and unresolved patterns that the soul's perceptions are either clouded or clarified. When we resolve karma through conscious awareness, acknowledging our lessons and seeking forgiveness, we clear the energetic pathways that connect us with the guides. In this process, the soul's relationship with divine guidance becomes more intuitive, more trustworthy. Karma is, in essence, the divine feedback mechanism that shows us where we are out of alignment with our true nature. When we act with love, humility, and a sincere desire for growth, we create positive karma, vibrations that strengthen our connection with higher realms. Conversely, when we ignore our inner guidance or act from fear and ego, we create dissonance, obscuring our perception of divine presence. The records emphasize that the soul's journey is a continual process of balancing karma, healing wounds, and opening the heart to the Christ consciousness within. To build confidence in your spiritual perceptions, Cayce advised practical steps rooted in humility and patience. First, cultivate a daily practice of stillness, be it through meditation, prayer, or quiet reflection, to attune your inner senses. During these sacred moments, ask for guidance with sincere intent, opening your heart to receive whatever messages may come. Remember, the guides communicate in subtle ways: a gentle nudge, a feeling of warmth, a sudden insight. These signals require your attentive presence and trust. Next, pay close attention to your dreams and intuitive impressions. The records reveal that dreams often serve as messengers from the guides, revealing truths encoded in symbols and images that only the soul can interpret. Journaling these experiences creates a sacred record, allowing you to track patterns and deepen your discernment. Furthermore, develop humility by surrendering the need to control the flow of guidance. Trust that the divine timing is perfect and that each lesson, each sign, is tailored to your soul's unique journey. When doubts arise, return to the acknowledgement that the guides are always present, waiting to assist when your heart is open and your mind is receptive. As your trust deepens, the role of karma becomes clearer. The more consciously you act in alignment with love and divine principles, the more your perceptions are amplified and your connection with your guides becomes more intimate. The records reveal that this is no coincidence. It is the natural consequence of a soul committed to growth, healing past wounds, and embracing its divine purpose. Ultimately, the soul seeks the balance between trust and discernment, between surrender and awareness. This balance is the seed from which divine guidance blossoms into daily experience. The guides, as celestial mentors, long to communicate with us, but they respect our free will. Therefore, the act of developing trust and understanding is an act of sacred partnership, a divine dance where the soul and guides move in harmony, each step guided by love, patience, and unwavering faith. In closing, remember that your journey to feel the presence of your guides is a reflection of your inner readiness to embrace your divine nature. The records reveal that the more you heal, the more you trust, and the more you discern, the closer you come to the Christ within, the eternal light that guides all souls home. The universe is whispering, always waiting for your open heart to listen, to trust, and to step into the divine flow that has been with you since the beginning of eternity. As we continue our sacred journey into the depths of spiritual awakening, the records reveal that the soul's most profound aspiration is to embrace the unity of Christ consciousness. It is through this divine harmony that the higher self becomes accessible, and the crystalline light, an embodiment of divine purity, flows freely, illuminating the path to divine guidance with luminous clarity. In the earlier revelations, we discovered that true guidance arises from an inner trust, an intuitive knowing that surpasses the realm of the physical senses. The soul, in its silent longing, seeks communion with the divine, and in this pursuit, the connection to guides and the Christ within is paramount. Now, to deepen this connection, one must understand the sacred significance of Christ consciousness, the universal unifying consciousness that resides within all beings, awaiting awakening. The records tell us that Christ consciousness is not merely a religious concept, but an awakening of the highest aspect of our divine nature. It is the recognition that we are all interconnected threads woven into the fabric of the One, the divine source from which all emanates. When the soul aligns with this consciousness, the boundaries of ego dissolve, and a profound sense of unity and purpose is realized. This is the gateway through which divine guidance becomes more palpable, more felt, more tangible. To embrace this unity, the soul must first cultivate a sincere surrender, an act of humility that invites the divine to work through and with us. The records reveal that humility is the fertile ground upon which the crystalline light can flourish. When we let go of self-centered desires and ego-driven pursuits, we clear the way for divine energy to flow unimpeded into our consciousness. As Cayce often emphasized, the greatest power of the soul is in its humility. It is the humble soul that becomes a vessel for divine illumination. The crystalline light, as revealed through the Akashic records, is a symbol of divine purity and the highest vibration of consciousness. It is the light of higher awareness, of the Christ within shining through the vessel of the physical body and mind. When one begins to consciously embody this crystalline light, the perception of divine guidance shifts from mere whispers of intuition to a radiant presence that guides every thought, word, and action. The process of embodying this crystalline light involves a daily practice of meditation and conscious intention. As Cayce advised, seek within, listen without noise. In stillness, the soul begins to resonate with the divine frequency, and the crystalline light becomes more than an abstract concept. It becomes a living, breathing reality within the heart's sanctuary. The records reveal that the higher self is not distant or separate, but is the very essence of the divine spark within us all. Connecting with this higher aspect requires a deliberate alignment, an attunement akin to tuning a sacred instrument. Visualization can serve as a powerful tool. Imagine a brilliant, crystalline light radiating from the heart center, expanding outward to fill your entire being with divine energy. Feel this light as a pure, unchanging source of love and wisdom, anchoring your consciousness in the unity of Christ. As you deepen this practice, you will notice subtle yet profound shifts. The presence of divine guidance becomes more immediate, more tangible, a constant loving whisper within the silent depths of your soul. The guides, the angels, and the Christ consciousness itself become familiar companions, guiding you through the labyrinth of life's challenges with divine wisdom. The journey inward to embody the crystalline light also involves healing past karma, those energetic imprints from previous incarnations that obscure our divine nature. The records reveal that as we consciously work to resolve these imprints, we clear the way for a fuller expression of Christ consciousness. Each act of forgiveness, compassion, and humility restores the soul's alignment with divine truth and awakens the crystalline light's luminous power. Moreover, the soul's pursuit of unity with Christ consciousness is inherently tied to the understanding that we are divine creators, coalesced with the divine plan. When the soul recognizes its divine authority, it steps into a sacred dance of co-creation, manifesting divine guidance into reality through faith, intention, and love. In this way, embodying the crystalline light is not a passive act, but a vibrant expression of divine will made manifest through human consciousness. In the sacred texts of the records, it is written that the Christ consciousness is the crown jewel of spiritual evolution. It is the divine bridge that unites the earthly with the heavenly, the temporal with the eternal. When the soul lives in this unity, divine guidance flows effortlessly, like a radiant stream of crystalline waters washing over the spirit, cleansing and illuminating all that is within. Remember, dear seeker, that the divine resides within you, waiting patiently to be awakened and embraced. The crystalline light is the key to this awakening. As Cayce often conveyed, the Christ within is the guiding star. It is the light that leads the soul home. When you consciously embody this light, you step into a sacred harmony where divine guidance is felt as an unceasing luminous presence, a testament to your divine origins and your eternal journey toward unity with the divine. In closing, the records reveal that the journey to feel the divine presence more deeply is rooted in love, humility, and faith. Embrace the unity of Christ consciousness, connect with your higher self through deliberate inner work, and embody the crystalline light with openness and reverence. For in doing so, you awaken the divine within and open the portal to infinite guidance, eternal wisdom, and the realization that you are indeed one with the divine source that animates all of creation. Remember, the divine presence has always been within you, patiently waiting to be awakened through love, humility, and trust. As your consciousness aligns with the Christ within, and the crystalline light begins to shine forth, divine guidance becomes a radiant reality, a constant whisper guiding your soul homeward. The records reveal that your journey is one of sacred union, where every step taken in faith and surrender deepens your connection to higher wisdom and infinite love. Now is the time to embrace this divine awakening fully. Listen to the gentle whispers, trust the signs, and step boldly into the sacred flow of your highest purpose. I invite you to share your experiences and insights in the comments, subscribe to continue this sacred journey, and share this message with others who seek to awaken their divine light. Together, let us walk the path back to ourselves, back to the divine, and into the fullness of our eternal truth.